It was a bright and sunny Saturday morning. The kind of day that makes you feel happy just to be outside. I'm Sam, just a regular guy who likes simple things. I was sitting on my porch, sipping my coffee. It was warm in my hands, and the smell made me smile. In my front yard, my little bird feeder hung from a tree. It was small, painted red and yellow, and it swayed a little in the breeze. The sparrows loved it. They flew in, chirping and hopping around, pecking at the seeds. Their tiny songs filled the air, and I liked watching them. It was peaceful. My bird feeder wasn't big or fancy, but it was special to me. It made my yard feel alive. Most people in my neighborhood didn't care about my bird feeder. They walked by with their dogs or waved hello from their cars. No one ever said, "Hey, Sam, that bird feeder is a problem." No one cared except for her. Her name was Karen Wilson. She wasn't just any neighbor. Oh no. Karen thought she was the boss of everything. She was the head of the HOA. That's the group that makes rules for our neighborhood, like what color your house can be or how tall your grass can grow. Karen loved those rules. She loved them too much. She walked around like she owned every house, every tree, every single blade of grass on the block. Her nose was always in the air, and her voice was loud. If something wasn't perfect, Karen would let you know. And she didn't like my bird feeder. Not one bit. That morning, I didn't know what was coming. I was just sitting there, enjoying my coffee and the birds. The sun was warm on my face, and everything felt good. But Karen? She had other plans. She didn't know it yet, but trouble was already sneaking up on her. Big trouble. And my little bird feeder? It was about to start something wild. It was like a tiny spark ready to light a huge fire. I didn't see it coming, and Karen sure didn't either. But oh boy, it was going to be a day no one would forget. Let me tell you a little more about Karen. She wasn't just bossy, she was super bossy. She wore bright clothes, like neon pink shirts and big hats, so everyone could see her coming from a mile away. She carried a clipboard sometimes, writing down things she didn't like. "Your mailbox is too rusty," she'd say. Or, "Your flowers are the wrong color." People rolled their eyes when she wasn't looking. Nobody liked arguing with her because Karen never stopped talking. She'd go on and on until you gave up. That's how she got her way. She thought she was the queen of the neighborhood, and we were all supposed to bow down to her rules. But me? I'm not fancy. I'm just Sam. I like my coffee, my porch, and my bird feeder. I don't bother anyone. I wave at the neighbors, mow my lawn when it gets long, and keep to myself. My house is small, with white paint and a red door. Nothing special. The bird feeder was the only thing that stood out. I put it up a few months ago because I thought it'd be fun to watch the birds. And it was. The sparrows came every day, and sometimes a bright red cardinal would stop by. I'd sit there with my coffee, listening to them chirp, and it made me happy. It was a little thing, but little things can matter a lot. Karen didn't think so. To her, my bird feeder was trouble. She'd walked by it before, squinting at it like it was a monster. She'd mutter stuff under her breath, but I didn't pay much attention. I figured she'd get over it. It's just a bird feeder, right? How could something so small make anyone mad? But Karen wasn't like most people. She didn't let things go. She'd find a rule or make one up and use it like a hammer to smash anything she didn't like. And that Saturday morning, she decided my bird feeder was her next target. I was still on my porch when I saw her coming. She marched down the sidewalk, her pink shoe slapping the pavement. Her face was all scrunched up, like she'd just smelled something bad. I took another sip of my coffee and watched her. She stopped right in front of my yard, staring at the bird feeder. The sparrows flew away when they saw her, like they knew trouble was here. I stayed quiet, waiting to see what she'd do. I didn't know it yet, but this was the start of something big. Something crazy. Something that would flip everything upside down. Here's the funny part, Karen thought she was in charge that day. She thought she could yell at me and make me take down my bird feeder. She didn't know that trouble was already waiting for her. Not trouble from me, oh no. Trouble from somewhere else. Something she'd done was catching up to her, and she didn't even see it. My bird feeder was just the beginning, like the first domino tipping over. Soon, everything would fall apart for her. And me? I'd just be sitting there, watching it happen. So, let me ask you something, okay? Imagine you're me, chilling on your porch with your coffee. You've got a little bird feeder that makes you happy. Then someone like Karen shows up, ready to ruin your day over something tiny. What would you do? Would you argue? Would you ignore her? Or would you just sit back and see what happens? Drop your answer in the comments, I want to know. And stick around, because this story is about to get good. Trust me, you won't believe what's coming next. That sunny Saturday started like any other day. I had no idea it'd turn into something wild. My bird feeder was just hanging there, minding its own business. The sparrows were singing, the coffee was hot, and I was happy. Karen thought she could stomp in and take that away. She thought she was the big boss. But here's the secret she didn't know, the real surprise wasn't my bird feeder. It was something else, something bigger, and it was already on its way to her door. My little bird feeder was just the spark. And oh man, the fire was about to burn bright. So, are you ready? Are you hooked yet? Good, because this is just the start. Karen's about to find out that she picked the wrong day to mess with me. And my bird feeder? It's going to be the star of the show. Let's keep going, you don't want to miss this. Okay, picture this, it's still that sunny Saturday morning. I'm Sam, just sitting on my porch with my coffee, watching the world go by. My little bird feeder is hanging in the yard, and the sparrows are gone for now. Everything's quiet until Karen shows up. She's not walking like a normal person. No, she's marching, like she's in a big hurry to boss someone around. Her pink shoes slap the sidewalk hard, and her face looks mad. Really mad. She stops right in front of my yard, and her phone is already in her hand. It's like she's holding a weapon, ready to attack. She points at my bird feeder with her other hand and yells, "That feeder's against the rules." I blink at her. Rules? What rules? My bird feeder's just a little thing, painted red and yellow, hanging from a tree. It's not hurting anyone. But Karen's acting like it's a monster. She keeps pointing at it, like it's a crime scene from a movie. It's too close to the sidewalk, she barks. Her voice is loud, and I bet the whole neighborhood can hear her. Someone could trip over it. I take a sip of my coffee and try to stay calm. Karen, I say, nice and slow, it's been there for months. No one's tripped. Not once. I mean, it's true. People walk by every day, old folks, kids, dogs, and nobody's ever fallen. The bird feeder's not even on the ground. It's hanging up high. But Karen doesn't care. She doesn't even look at me when I talk. Her eyes get all narrow, like she's squinting at something gross. Then she snaps, "I'm calling 911. This is a safety hazard." I almost drop my coffee. 911? For real? That's the number you call when there's a fire or a robber or someone's hurt. Not for a bird feeder. I want to laugh because it's so silly. Who calls the police over something that small? But I don't laugh. Something inside me says, wait, Sam. Just wait. I lean back in my chair and watch her. Karen's holding her phone up now, tapping the screen like she's mad at it. She's serious. She's really going to do this. I can't believe it. My bird feeder's been there forever, well, maybe not forever, but a long time. It's just a little spot of fun in my yard. The birds love it, and I love watching them. It's not big or dangerous. It's not like I put a giant rock in the middle of the sidewalk. But Karen's acting like it's the worst thing ever. She's the head of the HOA, the group that makes all those boring neighborhood rules. She loves telling people what to do. Like, cut your grass, or paint your fence. She's always walking around, looking for stuff to complain about. And now, she's picked my bird feeder to fight about. I try to talk to her again. Karen, come on, I say. It's not a big deal. Nobody's mad about it but you. But she's not listening. She never listens. Her face is turning red, and she's muttering stuff I can't hear. Probably mean things about me and my bird feeder. She's so busy being mad that she doesn't notice anything else. She doesn't see the 2 police cars parked down the street. I saw them earlier, when I got my coffee. They're just sitting there, quiet, near her house. Not mine, hers. 2 big, shiny cop cars with lights on top. I didn't think much of it at first. Maybe someone lost a dog or something. But now, with Karen yelling at me, I'm starting to wonder. Why are they there? What's going on? Karen's still waving her phone around. You'll see, Sam, she says, all snappy. This isn't over. She thinks she's winning. She thinks she's going to scare me into taking down my bird feeder. But I'm not scared. I'm curious. Those police cars are making me think something's up. Something big. Karen's too busy shouting to notice them. Her eyes are locked on me and my bird feeder. She's acting like I'm the bad guy, like I've done something terrible. But I haven't. I'm just a guy who likes birds and coffee. She's the one making a fuss over nothing. I lean forward a little, resting my elbows on my knees. My coffee's still warm in my hands, and I take another sip. I'm trying to figure her out. Why's she so mad about this? It's not like my bird feeder's ugly or loud. It's cute. The sparrows chirp, and sometimes a squirrel sneaks some seeds. It's harmless. But Karen's treating it like a giant problem. She's shaking her head now, talking to herself. Against the rules, she keeps saying. Safety hazard. I want to ask her, what rules, Karen? Show me the rule that says bird feeders are bad. But I don't. I just sit there, watching her freak out. The air feels funny now. Not funny like a joke, funny like something's about to happen. Karen's voice is loud, but there's this quiet feeling underneath it. Like a storm's coming, and she doesn't even know it. I glance at those police cars again. They haven't moved. The cops are still inside, and I can't see what they're doing. But they're close to Karen's house. Her big, fancy house with the perfect lawn and the shiny mailbox. She's always bragging about it, like it makes her better than everyone else. And now she's here, yelling at me, while those cars sit there waiting. Waiting for what? I don't know yet, but I'm starting to think it's not about my bird feeder. Karen's still going. I'm calling right now, she says, holding her phone up like it's proof she's right. She's so sure of herself. She thinks she's got all the power. She thinks she can boss me around and win. But I'm not worried. I'm calm. Something's telling me to wait and see. My bird feeder's not the real story here. It's just the thing that got Karen all worked up. The real trouble? It's hiding in those police cars. And Karen's too busy yelling at me to see it coming. Okay, so here's where things start getting juicy. I'm still Sam, sitting on my porch, holding my coffee cup. It's that sunny Saturday morning, and Karen's in my yard, making a big fuss about my bird feeder. She's got her phone pressed to her ear now, calling 911 like it's the most important thing in the world. I lean against the porch railing, just watching her. She's loud, really loud. Yes, hello, officer, she says, her voice all screechy like a bird that's mad. There's a dangerous situation here. I tilt my head, listening. Dangerous? My bird feeder? I almost giggle, but I keep it inside. Karen keeps going. A bird feeder, she yells into the phone. It's a threat to the neighborhood. Her face is turning red, like a tomato that's been in the sun too long. I can hear the person on the other end, a dispatcher, I guess. Their voice is fuzzy, but they sound confused. I don't blame them. Who wouldn't be confused about a 911 call over a bird feeder? But Karen doesn't care. She's on a mission. She keeps talking, her words fast and angry. It's too close to the sidewalk. Someone could get hurt, she says, waving her free hand around like she's trying to shoo away a fly. I take a sip of my coffee and watch her. She's so worked up, it's almost funny. Almost. But I don't laugh yet. I'm starting to feel like something's up, something bigger than this bird feeder fight. While Karen's yelling into her phone, I sneak a look down the street. Remember those two police cars I saw earlier? They're still there, parked near Karen's house. And now, something's happening. Two officers step out. One's a tall guy with a clipboard in his hand. The other's shorter, with a serious face like he's not here to play games. They don't look my way. Nope. They start walking straight toward Karen's house. My eyes go wide. What's this? I lean a little more on the railing, trying to see better. Karen doesn't notice them. She's too busy glaring at me. Her phone's still at her ear, But she's done talking to the dispatcher now. She hangs up with a big, dramatic huff, like she's just won a prize. Then she points at me, her finger all shaky. "You'll regret this, Sam," she mutters. Her voice is low and mean, like she's trying to scare me. But I'm not scared. Not even a little. I just sit there, calm as can be, sipping my coffee. Why? Because I've got a feeling something big is brewing. And I've got the best seat in the house to watch it all go down. Let's back up a bit. Karen's been mad at me for, like, 10 minutes now. She marched up to my yard, said my bird feeder was against the rules, and decided to call 911. She thinks she's in charge. She thinks she's going to win this fight. But those cops? They're not here for me. They're walking toward her house, not mine. I can see them getting closer. The tall one with the clipboard is looking at some papers. The serious one is scanning the street, like he's making sure no one's watching. But I'm watching. Oh yeah, I'm watching everything. Karen's still muttering stuff. "You think you can just break the rules," she says, crossing her arms. "I run this neighborhood, Sam. You'll see." She's so sure of herself. Her nose is up in the air, and her red face is all sweaty now. She's wearing that bright pink shirt, and it's glowing in the sun. She looks like a big, angry flamingo. I want to tell her, "Karen, chill out. It's just a bird feeder." But I don't. I keep quiet. I'm too busy watching those cops. They're almost at her front door now. My heart beats a little faster. What's going on over there? I start thinking back. Earlier that morning, when I got my coffee, I saw those police cars pull up. It was quiet then, no lights flashing, no sirens. Just two cars parking near Karen's house. I didn't think much of it. Maybe someone called about a lost cat or a noisy neighbor. But now it's different. Karen's calling 911 on me, but the cops are already here and they're not coming to my yard. They're going to hers. That's weird, right? Really weird. I set my coffee down on the railing and lean forward a little more. I don't want to miss a thing. Karen's pacing now, back and forth in my yard. She's talking to herself, saying stuff like, "The police will fix this, and you can't mess with me." She thinks the cops are going to show up and take my bird feeder away. She thinks she's the hero of the story. But she doesn't see what I see. Those officers are standing by her mailbox now. The tall one flips a page on his clipboard. The serious one knocks on her door, 3 loud knocks. Boom, boom, boom. Karen doesn't hear it. She's too busy staring at me, her eyes all squinty and mad. I start to smile a little. Not a big smile, just a tiny one. Something's clicking in my head. Those cops aren't here because of my bird feeder. They were here before Karen called 911. That means they're here for something else. Something about her. My bird feeder's just a silly little thing keeping her busy while the real trouble sneaks up. I feel like I'm in a movie, and I've got popcorn or, well, coffee, and I'm about to see the best part. Karen's still ranting. "When the police get here, you're done," she says, nodding like she's super smart. "They'll make you take it down, Sam. You'll see who's in charge." I don't say anything. I just watch. The cops are at her door, and now the tall one's writing something on his clipboard. The serious one knocks again, harder this time. Karen's house is quiet, no one's answering. Where's her husband? Where's her dog that barks all the time? It's strange. Really strange. I glance at Karen. She's so caught up in yelling at me that she doesn't even turn around. She doesn't know what's happening behind her. My bird feeder's keeping her distracted, like a shiny toy for a kid. But me? I'm not distracted. I'm watching it all. The cops. Her house. Her angry face. Something big is coming, and I can feel it. My coffee's getting cold, but I don't care. This is too good. Alright, here we go. This is the part where everything explodes. I'm still Sam, sitting on my porch, my coffee cup cold now. It's that sunny Saturday morning, and Karen's been yelling at me about my bird feeder forever. She just hung up her phone after calling 911, thinking she's won. She's standing in my yard, looking smug like she's the smartest person ever. Her arms are crossed, and she's got this big, Proud smile. She thinks the police are coming to help her make me take down my bird feeder. Oh, she's so sure of herself. But then, something awesome happens. The two cops I saw earlier? They're done waiting. They walk right up to her driveway, just a few steps from where she's standing. The tall one with the clipboard stops and looks at her. His voice is loud and sharp, like a teacher calling your name when you're in trouble. Karen Wilson, he says. Karen spins around so fast I think she might fall over. Her jaw drops her mouth just hangs open and her eyes get huge. Why yes, that's me, she says, but her voice is all shaky now. She's not yelling anymore. She sounds scared. What's this about, she asks, stepping back a little. The officer doesn't smile. Not even a tiny bit. His face is super serious, like he's about to say something big. We've been trying to reach you, he says. You're under investigation for forging HOA documents. We've got a warrant to search your house. Boom. There it is. I'm sitting on my porch, and I can't believe what I just heard. My eyes go wide, and I lean forward so I don't miss a word. Karen's face? Oh man, it's like all the color falls right out of it. She goes pale, like a ghost. What? She squeaks, her voice high and tiny. She sounds like a mouse now, not a big, loud boss. I can't hold it in anymore. I grin. A big, happy grin. This is too good. Karen's been caught, and I'm watching it happen. The officer with the clipboard pulls out some papers and shows them to her. This is the warrant, he says. We need to go inside. The other cop, the serious one, steps closer to her door. Karen's shaking her head, like she can't believe it. No, this is a mistake, she says, but her voice is all wobbly. She's not smug anymore. She's freaking out. Here's the best part, I start to figure it out. Turns out, Karen's been sneaky. Really sneaky. She's the head of the HOA, right? She makes all those dumb rules like no bird feeders or only certain colors for houses. But she didn't just make rules. Nope. She's been faking stuff. The cops say she forged signatures. That means she pretended other people signed papers when they didn't. She used those fake papers to push her silly rules like banning my bird feeder and to boss everyone around. And get this, she's been taking extra money. HOA fees are what we all pay to keep the neighborhood nice, but Karen's been sneaking some of that cash for herself. She thought no one would notice. She thought she was untouchable, like a queen who could do whatever she wanted. But guess what? Someone did notice. Someone figured it out, and now the cops are here. They've been watching her, trying to catch her. And this whole time, while she's been yelling at me about my bird feeder, they've been waiting to bust her. Perfect timing, right? She called 911 on me, thinking she'd win, but the cops were already here for her. I can't stop smiling. It's like a movie where the bad guy gets caught right when they think they're safe. Karen's still trying to talk her way out of it. This is crazy, she says, waving her hands. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm the victim here. Her voice is loud again, but it's not strong, it's panicky. The tall cop shakes his head. We've got proof, he says. Fake signatures. Missing money. It's all in the report. He taps his clipboard. Karen's mouth opens, but no words come out. She looks at me, then at the cops, then back at me. Her eyes are wild, like she's a trapped animal. You, she yells, pointing at me. This is your fault. I laugh. I can't help it. Me. I say, holding up my hands. I didn't do anything, Karen. I just put up a bird feeder. She glares at me, but she's got nothing to say. The cops don't even look at me. They don't care about my bird feeder. They're here for her. The serious cop knocks on her door again. Open it, or we will, he says. Karen's shaking now. She digs in her pocket for her keys, muttering, this isn't happening. This isn't happening. I lean back on my porch, feeling pretty great. Karen thought she was the big boss. She thought she could yell at me and call 911 and make me feel small. But now she's the one in trouble. Big trouble. The cops are here with a warrant that's a paper that says they can look through her house for proof. And they've got her name on it. Karen Wilson, the HOA queen, is about to fall hard. All because she couldn't leave my bird feeder alone. The neighbors are starting to peek out now. I see curtains move across the street. A guy walking his dog slows down, staring. Everyone's wondering what's up. Karen's pink shirt is like a spotlight she can't hide. She fumbles with her keys, drops them, picks them up again. "Hurry up," the serious cop says. She finally gets the door open, and the cops walk right in. Karen follows, still talking. "You've got the wrong person," she says, but they're not listening. They're already inside, looking for evidence. I sit there, grinning like a kid with candy. My bird feeder's still hanging in the yard, swaying in the breeze. The sparrows aren't back yet, but they will be. Karen's in her house now, probably freaking out as the cops dig through her stuff. She thought she was so smart, faking signatures and taking money. She thought she could boss me around and win. But nope. The cops were already here, waiting for her. My bird feeder? It just kept her busy while her big secret came crashing down. Okay, so the big moment's over, and now it's time for everything to wrap up nice and neat. I'm still Sam, sitting on my porch, watching the wild stuff go down. Karen's in deep trouble now. The cops just told her she's been faking HOA papers and taking money, and they've got a warrant to search her house. She's not happy, not one bit. She's waving her arms around like a windmill, flapping them up and down. "This is ridiculous," she yells, her voice all loud and squeaky. "I'm the victim here." She's trying to act like she didn't do anything wrong, like the cops got it all mixed up. But the officers? They're not buying it. Not even a little. The tall one with the clipboard shakes his head, and the serious one grabs her arm, not hard, just firm. "Let's go," he says. They start marching her toward her house. Karen's still talking, saying stuff like, "You can't do this, and I'm in charge here." But they don't listen. They keep walking, and she has to follow. Her pink shirt looks silly now, all wrinkled and sweaty. She's not the boss anymore, she's just a lady in trouble. The neighbors are watching everything. Curtains move in windows, and heads poke out. People are whispering to each other, like, "What's happening, and did Karen do something bad?" One guy across the street even gives me a thumbs up, like he's saying, "Good job, Sam." I grin back at him. Everyone's starting to see what's really going on. Karen's not the queen she pretended to be. She's been sneaky, and now she's caught. By the end of the day, it's all over. The cops find what they need in her house, papers and stuff that prove she faked signatures and took extra HOA money. They put handcuffs on her wrists, shiny metal ones that click when they snap shut. Karen's face is red and mad, but she can't talk her way out of this. They walk her to one of the police cars, and she gets in. The door slams, and they drive away. She's gone. Just like that. Later, my phone buzzes. It's an email from the HOA, not Karen, but someone else. It says they're sorry about her and that her dumb rules are getting scrapped. No more no bird feeders or only blue mailboxes. Everyone's free to do what they want now, as long as it's not crazy. I smile big. My bird feeder's safe. The next morning, I'm back on my porch with fresh coffee. The sparrows come back, chirping louder than ever. They hop around my bird feeder, pecking at seeds, happy as can be. I sip my coffee, and it tastes extra good today. I feel awesome. Karen tried to ruin my day, but she's the one who lost. Karma swooped in like a fast hawk and got her. I didn't even have to do anything, just sit here and watch. How cool is that? Justice is served, and I'm happy as can be. Alright, we're at the end of this wild ride. I'm Sam, and I've just told you all about Karen, my bird feeder, and how everything turned upside down. Now, let's sit back and think about it for a minute. Here's the thing, sometimes, the loudest people, the ones who shout and act like they're the boss, are hiding stuff. Big stuff. Secrets they don't want anyone to know. Karen was like that. She walked around our neighborhood, yelling about rules, pointing fingers, and thinking she was in charge. She was loud, super loud, but all that noise was covering up something sneaky. She was faking papers and taking money, and she thought she'd never get caught. But she did. And you know what's funny? It didn't take a big hero or a fancy plan to show the truth. Nope. All it took was my little bird feeder. That tiny thing hanging in my yard, with its red and yellow paint and happy sparrows, started it all. Karen got so mad about it that she didn't see the cops coming for her. It's like the bird feeder was a quiet little helper, fluttering the truth out into the open. Sometimes, the smallest things can make the biggest difference. Isn't that cool? So, what do you think? Have you ever seen someone like Karen, someone who acts all big and tough get what's coming to them? Maybe a kid at school who brags a lot but then trips over their own shoelaces? Or a grown-up who bosses everyone around but messes up big time? I bet you've got a story. Drop it in the comments below, I'd love to hear it. It's fun to share these things and see how life surprises us all. Here's something to take with you: stay kind. Yep, being nice matters. I didn't yell back at Karen or try to fight her. I just sat there, sipping my coffee, and let things happen. Being kind doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're strong enough to wait and watch. And stay curious, too. Keep your eyes open, because the world's full of crazy stuff waiting to happen. Like cops showing up out of nowhere or a bird feeder turning into a hero. You never know what's around the corner, and that's what makes every day exciting. So, keep watching, okay? Stories are everywhere. They're in your yard, at school, down the street. Some are funny, some are wild, and some teach you stuff without you even trying. This one about me, my bird feeder, and Karen showed me that the truth always comes out, even if it takes a little time. And when it does, it feels so good. So, grab your own coffee, or juice, or whatever you like, sit back, and look around. What story's waiting for you next? Let me know, I'm here for it. So, keep watching, okay? Stories are everywhere. They're in your yard, at school, down the street. Some are funny, some are wild, and some teach you stuff without you even trying. This one about me, my bird feeder, and Karen showed me that the truth always comes out, even if it takes a little time. And when it does, it feels so good. So, grab your own coffee, or juice, or whatever you like, sit back, and look around. What story's waiting for you next? Let me know, I'm here for it. Let's think about this a bit more. Karen thought she was so smart, right? She had her clipboard and her rules and her loud voice. She thought that made her unbeatable. But all it took was one little push, my bird feeder, to tip everything over. It's like when you build a tall tower of blocks, and one tiny tap makes it all fall down. Life's like that sometimes. People can act big and tough, but if they're hiding something bad, it's going to crash eventually. And when it does, you don't have to do much, just watch and enjoy the show. That's what I did. I didn't need to argue or get mad. I stayed calm, and the truth came out on its own. It's a good lesson, don't you think? You don't always have to fight to win. Sometimes, just being yourself and doing your thing, like putting up a bird feeder, is enough. The world has a way of fixing itself, and the good guys come out okay. So, keep being you, stay kind, and wait for the surprises. They're coming, and they're going to be awesome. What's your next story? Tell me, I can't wait to hear it.